podcast. All right. Hello, everyone. Barbara Fleury here, relationship marketing coach, BNI member and director, and I couldn't be any more excited today. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce someone who has been a mentor of mine since I first read his book, Endless Referrals. That's that no-nonsense approach to building your business relationships, right? So the other way that I was introduced to this gentleman is through his series of GoGiver books. And the GoGiver is that classic parable that started a worldwide movement. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Mr. Bob Burg.
Hello, Barbara. Great to be with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with me today, Bob. I'm very excited to finally meet you in person on March 1st as you make your way to Arizona for what is to be a truly amazing morning of training with you. And I thought it would be great to have you share some of your wisdom and why people want to consider attending this event. So I'm so happy you said yes.
Well, thank you. I am as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, one thing that I know for sure is that to achieve success, one must be a giving person, which is why the GoGiver's 5 laws of stratospheric success have resonated so deeply with me. So, Bob, first, share with us what you mean by being a go-giver.
Yeah, a go-giver is simply someone who has learned, or maybe always intuitively understood. There are plenty of people who are like that, that shifting your focus, and this is really the key, Barbara, shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing value to others, and understanding that doing that is not only a more pleasant way of conducting business, it's the most financially profitable way as well. That's really what it comes down to.
I so agree with that. And the relationship that I've had over the years with BNI, Business Network International, and I know that you know Ivan very well. He speaks
one of my heroes.
Yeah, and the whole giver's gain philosophy that we work from. And the same thing with the company that I'm affiliated with, Send Out Cards, and the whole give to give attitude that we all have. It just fits so perfectly, and it is the only thing that is going to help us move through life and business.
Yeah, well, you think about it, and just on a very even if you want to look at it on a very surface level, okay, nobody is going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. Okay. No one's going to buy from you because you need the money, and no one's going to buy from you even though you're or just because you're a really nice person. Okay. Those are all good things. I mean, well, the quota and the other one, but I'm saying being a good person, that's a great thing, but they're not going to buy from you because you're a good person. They're going to buy from you only because they believe they will be better off by doing so than by not doing so. Okay. Now, what that says is that it's incumbent upon the salesperson, upon the entrepreneur, to bring so much value to that other human being that person understands that it's in their best interest to do business with them. Okay. Otherwise, why would they? And that's a good thing. See, this is a good thing. People say, so you're saying that it really, you need to give to, yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And that's a good thing. It means that what we need to do is ask ourselves the question, how does what I'm about to say, how does what I'm about to do, how does this benefit another human being, right? How does this bring value to them in a way that they see it as being valuable? Because value is always in the eyes of the beholder, right? So, whether it's just, whether it's when you first meet someone and being able to, and we're going to talk about this during the event too, how to immediately communicate value when you first meet someone just through your conversation with them, which is diametrically opposite to what most of us are taught in sales. Now, this is not opposite from what B&I teaches or send out cards, but for most in sales, it's kind of the direct opposite. And so we're going to talk about that, and also in the relationship building process, and then in the sales process and the referral process and the follow-up and follow-through process. It's always up to that sales professional to be the one focusing on bringing value to another person. This is why we say that money is simply an echo of value. It's the thunder to value's lightning.
Boy, we're just getting started and you're already giving so much great content. Yeah, I'm super excited. So I've got another question for you. In law number 3 of the GoGiver, you discuss the law of influence. And while I know we'll be relating that to building our referral business, can you drill down for us just a bit regarding what influence really means? I mean, what it really is?
Yeah, that's a great question, because in the program itself, we're going to talk about utilizing the law of influence in order to really build our referral business. But I'll share something with you here that we're not even going to be talking about during the program itself, because this is sort of almost on another aspect of influence, but it is, in general principle, everything that what we'll be talking about. See, influence, Barbara, on a surface level, can be defined on a very, very basic level as simply the ability to move a person or persons to a desired action, usually within the context of a specific goal. That's the definition, but that is by no means the essence of influence. The essence of influence is pull as opposed to push, as in the old question, how far can you push a rope? And the answer is not very, at least not very fast or very effectively, which is why great influencers, or what we would call genuine influencers, don't push. You know, you never hear people say things like, wow, that Dave or that Marianne, she is so influential. She has a lot of push with people. No, they'd say she's very influential. She has a lot of pull with people, because that's what pull is. It's an attraction. Great influencers don't push their ideas on others. Great salespeople don't push their ideas on others, right? They don't try to push their will. They're not push-y, right? They attract others first to themselves and then to their ideas. So let's ask the basic question. And again, we won't even be talking about this during the actual event. We're just talking about this here. And that is, so how do you basically pull a person, gently pull a person and be able to influence? Well, in a sense, it kind of goes back to understanding on a heart level what I believe was Dale Carnegie's underlying premise in his classic How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this is where he wrote that ultimately people do things for their reasons, not our reasons. So the great influencer, the great salesperson, the genuine influencer, they always ask themselves questions to make sure they're focused correctly. So it might be things like, how does what I'm asking this person to do, how does it align with their goals? How does it align with their needs, their wants, their desires? How does what I want this other person to do, how does it align with their values? What problems am I helping them to solve? What am I helping them to have more of in life that they want? When we ask ourselves these questions intelligently, thoughtfully, genuinely, authentically, not as a way to manipulate another human being into doing our will, but as a way of genuinely building every word of the process, now we've come a long way toward earning that person's commitment, as opposed to trying to depend on some type of compliance. Great leadership is never about the leader. Great influence is never about the influencer. And great salesmanship is never about the salesperson. It's always about the other person. It's about that person whose lives you're trying to touch, whose lives you're trying to add value to. That's influence.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So we're really excited to learn more about building a mainly referral business. Why do you see referrals being so important?
Well, they make your business a lot more fun, a lot less stressful, and certainly a lot more profitable. And, you think about it, there are a number of reasons why referrals are so beneficial, but just to name a few of them, uh, working with a referral-based prospect, it's simply easier to set the appointment, right? You think of all the basic prospecting, all the outbound stuff, and all the marketing, and all the calling, and all the sending, and all the things. But when you have a referral, you're going in on what we call borrowed influence. Okay. And so what that does, it sort of takes you, if you picture a rainbow, right? You're at the beginning of the rainbow, at the end of that rainbow, right? The big, beautiful rainbow at the very end is a pot of gold, right? That gold is where your qualified prospects are who want what you have to offer. Okay. And so, that referral gets you right over the rainbow into that person's office or into that home. So it's easier to set the appointment. With referred prospects, price is generally less of an issue. Again, because of borrowed influence. You've got that credibility going in. So it doesn't mean price is a non-issue or not an issue, but it's less of an issue. So instead of having to sell on low price, you can sell on high value. And that's so important. Uh, Benefit number three, with a referred prospect, it's simply easier to complete the transaction, right? Why? Well, you're going in on borrowed trust, or what we call vicarious experience. So no, this person has never done business with you before, but someone who they know, like, and trust has said, this is the person who's going to take care of you. Barbara is going to make sure that you have everything you need, and she's going to be there with you, and she's going to make sure that you get the most out of, and is going to, you know what I'm saying? And so that's,
Yes.
that's that vicarious experience.
Just
That's
an
so important.
easier way to do business, right?
Mhm.
Just an easier
Oh,
way to do business.
much easier, much easier. And then, I'd say just one more benefit would be that a referred prospect is already of the mindset that that's how you do business, since that's how they met you. So in their world, in their model of how the world works, you meet people through referral, you sell on high value rather than low price, you complete the transaction, and then you are referred to others. So as long as you ask correctly, and that's something we're going to go over. Never again are you going to get somebody saying to you, well, I can't think of anybody right now, but when I do, I'll let you know after you've asked for referrals. We're going to show you how to be able to ask in such a way that not only do you have confidence in doing so, a humble confidence, and the other person feels very, very comfortable with the process, but you help them actually, you create the context for them to be able to come up with really high quality A-list names.
Well, I can certainly see the value that you're building into this event. This is going to be fantastic.
Thank you.
So, what would you say is the biggest challenge that most salespeople, regardless of their business, face?
I'd say it comes down to this, and this is a problem, a challenge, if you will, that again, every salesperson, I think pretty much every business has. And if you cannot overcome this challenge, it's very difficult to have a fun and sustainably profitable business. However, if you can master this and turn it into one of your greatest strengths, there's just no stopping you. And the challenge is running out of new people to share your business with, okay, to share your products with. Because let's face it, you can have the best product, you can have the best service, you can be the best blah, 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 okay? But if you don't have constantly people in front of you for you to be able to share this with, it's all for naught.
Right.
So we're going to take away that issue, that challenge for forever and ever after this program.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is one of the number one setbacks that a lot of people that I talk to have. So that's another reason why someone is going to want to come to this event, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So Bob, you've said that there is one basic motivating factor behind the actions of every single person. Would you share that with us?
Yeah. And, this is not something I made up. I'm not that clever, but fortunately I read and study and know a lot of people who are clever. And this was a guy, his name was Harry Brown, Browne. And he was a mentor of mine for a while. And I read a ton of his books and paid great attention to his teaching. And what Harry said, and this was so brilliant, he said, you know, and Harry was a student of human nature. And he was just the nicest person in the world. And just he understood human nature. He respected human nature. He didn't try to change human nature, but rather he worked within it in order to advance everyone. And he was a great salesperson. And Harry says this, he says, there are three rules when it comes down to why people will do a certain thing. Okay. Number one is this: everyone seeks happiness. Now, two things here. One is, very rarely would Harry, very rarely would I ever use the word everyone or no one, because it's typically not the case. Okay. But in this case, it's just human nature. It's been programmed into us. Everyone seeks happiness. Now, that might be unconsciously, okay, but we do. We seek happiness. Now, happiness as defined as the mental feeling of well-being. Okay, so we always put things against a definition to, okay, so the happiness being the mental feeling of well-being. Everyone seeks happiness. Now, not every action results in happiness, right? Because we're human beings, we make mistakes. But every act is done with the goal of being happier. Okay, now, number two, though, and this is important, happiness is relative. We all understand happiness differently. Thus, we place different values on different things. So something that would bring one person great happiness would be absolutely meaningless to someone else, or even cause them unhappiness.
Right.
But we need to understand that, you know, that what would make us happy won't necessarily make the other person happy. One of the biggest mistakes salespeople make is that they love a certain benefit about their product or service, and they assume that's what the other person would like as well. Oh, I love this. You know, one of the things about this I love is blah, blah, blah. Well, it doesn't matter. You need to ask questions and find out, do they like, okay, so again, everyone seeks happiness. Happiness is relative. Now, number three, resources are limited. Now, this is not to be confused with a lack thinking or lack mentality. No, not at all. We live in an abundant universe. But personally, as human beings, we have certain limitations. We all have a limited amount of time. Okay, whether it's 100 years or 80 years, or whether it's 24 hours in a day, and you know what I'm saying. So we all have a limited amount of time. We have a limited amount of money. We have a limited amount of energy. We have a limited amount of knowledge. We have a limited amount, right? Different people have different amounts of different parts, and you can make exchanges for that, but but we have limitations as far as that. Because of this, Barbara, because of this, we must constantly make choices. We're making choices throughout the day, every day, most of them unconscious, but every single one of these choices is about whether we believe it will bring us happiness or move us closer to happiness, based on how we understand happiness and based on the limited amount of choices or options that we believe we have. So as salespeople, it always comes down to that. And if we can keep this in mind, that everything that this person's going to buy or not buy because they believe they'll be happier by doing so based on how they value happiness and within the limited amount of choices, the options they believe they have, you'll be 9 steps ahead of the game in a 10-step game.
Right. Right. Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. Well, now I mentioned, I wanted to mention anyway, that your friend Christy Ellis, the event coordinator for this live event, shared with me that there's going to be a few hundred business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals in the room. So along with the phenomenal training that you're going to be providing, this will definitely be an event for anyone else out there to be attending. Now, I know that you work a lot with salespeople. Is there another group of people that really need to know about this event?
I think anyone who's in sales, anyone who's an entrepreneur, which also means they're in sales. I think any
Yeah.
leader who's also in sales, right? Because we all really are at some point. Or anyone who really wants to learn relationship building skills, I think would benefit from being there.
Oh, that's awesome. Any closing thoughts?
No, I do want to thank Christy Ellis for everything she does. She is just an amazing human being. She had such a wonderful year as a realtor again. I think she set even a record even for her. And
Yeah.
just because all she cares about is serving others and bringing value to others. Patrick McQueen, what a great, great guy. And I know he does a superb job. And there's you and there's the other sponsors. And I don't want to leave anybody out. So I'm not going to name names only because I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay.
Sure,
But,
sure.
huh?
I said sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I thank all of them, and I thank you for being a sponsor. And no, I just really look forward to seeing everybody there. We're gonna have a great time and a fantastic morning.
Awesome. Well, Bob, it's been a pleasure. Just an absolute pleasure talking with you. Your books are fantastic, and I highly recommend that if you haven't read The Go-Giver, you go and pick up a copy today. Is there a website you want people to go to, or would you just like them to go to Amazon to get a copy, or where would you like them to go?
They could either go to burg.com or even The Go-Giver without the hyphen, thegogiver.com. And if they scroll down a few pages, they can see a link where they can read chapter 1 first, or a couple of chapters, and then see if they like it, then click through. I would recommend, if they'd like, that they read at least the first one, The Go-Giver, the parable, maybe even before coming to see the event, because they'll kind of relate a little bit more at the very beginning when we talk about the 5 laws of stratospheric success from the book and go deep into it. If they don't read the book, that's okay. It's not going to make a difference. But if they do, I think they'll enjoy it even more when we kind of go deep into the laws.
Awesome. Well, that's great advice. Thank you again, Bob. And I look forward to seeing you and everyone else on March 1st for this live event. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
I think I did it. Oops.